My name is Susan Shadburne. I'm the writer. Writing for claymation was a very collaborative process, more so than the sort of live action writing I was accustomed to, because it does certain things really well and other things it doesn't do well at all. In those days, you couldn't run. You just avoided feet if you could. And it did some extraordinary things, clay painting and morphing into things that could be written, but that was much better coming from the artists who have a vision of how that's going to work. So it's for me, the job was, well, I think the most fun of all for me was the Adventures of Adam and Eve. Absolutely, everyone loves that piece. Oh, I just think it's hysterical. I can't show that to any woman without having the whole room crack up. I mean, it's just hysterical. Granted, men kind of get the short shrift in that, and she gets to name everything, and she's just buffaloed at why he can't figure things out, and he's off looking to find out who this thing is. It turns out to be a child. Very strange thing. He doesn't know what it is, but he thinks maybe he'll go out. He thinks it's a bear, so he'll go out and find another one, because that'll keep him happy to have company. Meanwhile, she's pregnant at the door as he leaves, with her big tummy hanging out and just going like that. And we don't know any men like that, of course, but it's pretty fun. It's really fun. And the animation is very fun in that one, too. Just something about the timing just works so well. And there's a simplicity to it that I particularly like. And even the red catalpa trees, those are from our backyard, because we had a great big catalpa tree, and that's the shape of a catalpa leaf, but they were in red in the movie. There were others that the executive producer thought would be fun to have in. So then, as with any adaptation, especially if it's a compilation, the job is to weave them together. It began with the concept of the dark and the light. I mean, anyone who's read any Twain, knows anything about him at all, knows that he had a very depressive side, and that his humor, fun and funny and light as it could be, also had a very dark side. So while I don't remember exactly who wanted that concept, that was what we strove to do right from the beginning, and to bring three of his favorite characters aboard who didn't really know what they were getting into, and let them be heroes in the end and go on. Even though he's not here, they would go on to share his work with the rest of us. I mean, all through the film, they're worried that he's trying to blow them up along with him. And we're thinking, well, that's not likely to happen, because they're his legacy. That's what lives on after him, but we're not sure, because we don't want these children to blow up. I mean, this guy looks fairly dark sometimes. Maybe he would actually do that. Maybe he's a terrorist and we don't even know it. But the moment when it becomes very clear to the kids that he never had any intention of doing that, because they have a job to do now. They have to sail the world and be his legacy. And that's a nice moment when you finally resolve that tension, which that's been the tension throughout, that we are going to burn up. And I do not want to. And then how can we get the ship? And they're trying to get the ship away from him so that they can save themselves, and to find out that this old man never had any intention of destroying his characters. He knew what their job was, and he was tired. How to deal with some of the more visual, even abstract elements that are hard to describe on paper. I mean, if you think about that final scene, at one point he blows them off, and well, you could say that. You could say, well, with a puff of smoke, he sort of blew the kids off into posterity. But I don't think that I tried. I think, I think all the magicians with their clay simply worked out, probably storyboarded even though I wasn't there, but probably storyboarded what looked good. We knew what was going to be happening. We knew what the point of the scene was, but exactly how it happened, that was up to the animators, because there's just too much that they invent that needs to be included. So why would a writer not work with that? There are some advantages and some disadvantages to working so far away from the system. It was just a little band in the beginning, and kind of over a barbershop, and the people who were going to be doing voiceover and narration seemed to like to come out here, and of course we loved having them come out here to see us in Portland. But we were just so far out of the mainstream, and people just seemed to enjoy what they were doing. All of us enjoyed what we were doing, and I think that could have been lost in a place like LA. You know, it could have been entirely lost because people are looking left and right at what's going on. People are copying people. It's just, it's a completely different environment. You know, Portland could not be more different from LA. I mean, I went down one time to get Ed Asner to do some narration for me on a film that I'd done on family violence. And then he took me aside and he said, no, it was the owner of the sound studio who said, you need to go home to Portland now. I said, oh. He says, you're much too nice to be down here. He says, these are barracudas. He said, so go home, come down here for what you need, and then go back home. And I thought that was an interesting thing for, you know, the owner of a sound studio to say, but they're awfully nice people. And they didn't get that strange kind of LA thing going. And all of those people probably started out as nice people too, but the drive, the ambition, you know, kind of just obsessiveness, I thought would have worked against what they were doing, because this was a relaxed group of people. So it required patient people, and it required a sense of humor. They had to be funny on screen, and you had to be able to laugh at the whole process because it was really laborious. And have a lot of patience for the long haul. There was no instant gratification in working that way. And I respected all of them. I didn't, as I say, I didn't have an office there. I was outside of that. But to watch them doing that day after day after day, you know, making their jokes, because they all knew one another. And I have very fond memories of that time. That was a long time ago. But I thought it was an advantage to be in Portland. It matters to me that I like it more. Not that I didn't like it to begin with, but I like it more now. And I think that's, wow, what more could you ask for? You make a film, and a quarter of a century later, you look at it, and it is timeless because those aren't actors. They're not going to age, and so you haven't seen them, you know, in a pop magazine looking 30 years. You know, it's a timeless process, so it doesn't change. The message is a big one. It's a message from the heart, and it's as much fun as they're in it. And most of clay animation was a lot of fun. I mean, that was kind of what it was known for. This had as much pathos, you know, as it was fun. This is a script of a strange, talented, you know, obsessed man who referred to himself that way. I was a freak, he says. I came in with Halley's Comet, and I'm going out with Halley's Comet. And so to have had the humor, the kids, all the gadgets, you know, with the spaceship, and also be speaking to that meaning of life. I mean, I think I love a good comedy, but at some age, the meaning of life becomes very important. You know, what is it all about? Alfie, he is looking forward to, he said, right in the beginning, we hear right at the top, I'm looking forward to this, to going out with Halley's Comet. We know from the very first frame that what we're going to see is a man go to his death. He's smiling, smoking his cigar. He's tired. And, you know, I think there are a lot of older people who can sort of relate to that. Yeah, I sort of get that. But there was nothing dark about that in itself. Just said, I'm going out with Halley's Comet, and boy, I'm looking forward to it. See, I mean, that's a film that speaks to grown-ups who are looking for meaning. And an awful lot of animation doesn't do that anymore.